Hello guys, welcome to my channel SK series. In previous video, we have seen the how to implement the abstraction in Java using abstract class, and we have seen also using abstract class how much percent we can implement the abstraction in program. And we have seen the second method also. By using interface we can implement the abstraction. That abstraction percentage is 100% by using interface. So today in this video we will see by using interface how we can implement the abstraction in Java. The abstraction is implemented in Java by using interface is 100%. If you haven't seen the previous video, that is a abstract using class, I will give the link in I button. You can click on I button simply and go to this video, previous video. So we will see what is interface. Interface, it is like a class in which we can define the final variable and abstract methods, and we can't define other variable or concrete method. We can say concrete method is non-abstract method. It means we can't define the without final keyword any variable, and we can't define without abstract keyword method any. By default in interface the methods is final, variable is final, and methods are abstract methods. We will see now use of the interface. The first use is the interface is used if you want to implement abstraction, and second is it is used if you want to implement the multiple inheritance. In Java, without using interface we cannot implement the multiple inheritance. That's why whenever we have to take multiple inheritance, then we have to use the interface. Here the syntax of interface. Interface syntax is same as class. Instead of class keyword we have to write interface, and instead of class name we have to write interface name. The interface name is a valid identifier. It should be a valid identifier. What is valid identifier? A valid identifier, it means it does not start with digit or any special character, except underscore and dollar, because underscore and dollar are a valid identifier. We can use in class name or interface name, variable name, whatever. Next is the block of interface. Inside the block of interface we can define the final variable and abstract methods. Now we will see the what is interface and how we can implement by using the live demonstration using one program. First, before that we will see by default variable declared in interface are public, static, final, then variable name. I will type here and show you. By default the variables in interface scope is public, static, and final, then end, suppose a. This is a declaration of a variable by default in interface. If you not write public, static, final, it will add by default. And by default methods in interface are public, abstract, and then return type, suppose void, and method name show. This type we can define the methods in interface. If you not public or abstract before method, it will take by default whenever declare interface. And when you take methods in interface, I will show you one example here. Interface area. Interface is a keyword, area is a interface name, then block of interface. After that we will define one variable, that is double pi equals to 3.14, and after that we will define one method, that is void cal area. We will see one simple program, that is area of circle double R. I have passed one parameter here, double R, and here we can define, we can only declare the methods. We cannot define block for method. Whenever the method is abstract, when you use that method, you can redefine it in child class. This is a interface area. I will save this program. Program name is main, suppose main interface .java. Now this is interface I have declared here. By default, the scope of that pi variable is public, that is a modifier, or we can say scope of that variable public, and this variable is static and the variable is constant, because in interface when you are declare a variable, the variable is final keyword. And when you define one method here, cal area method is an abstract method because it in interface method, and the scope of that method is public. You have to remember it. Now we will take one class circle area. Then in that class we will define one method public. We will take this abstract method in this class. We have to inherit this method in this class. That's why I have to define the scope of that method, that is a public. Then we can define the upper scope in when you are redefine the abstract method, but you can't define the lower scope for method. I have discussed in previous video the scope order. If you not see, you can go description and click on that by using class how we can implement the abstraction. I will give that video link in description and I button. You can click I button or go to description. You can see that video, and in that video you can see the scope order. We cannot define the lower scope, but we can define the upper scope. Here I have defined the public because interface methods by default scope is public. Then we have to give return type, then method name, and here I have to pass the parameter double R. Now I will define the block for this method. Here I will redefine that method. I will take one variable double area, and area of circle, that is a formula, area equals to pi into r by r square. Then I will print that result using system.out.println method, and in that method I will print circle area goes to the area. This result print here. I have defined this method, but whenever we have to access that interface variable and method, we can create the object of that interface or not. If you want to access one class into another class, then we have to create that object of that class and object dot that variable name, then we can access that variable or class methods in another class. Like that, here is interface area and class is circle area, but we have to access that pi variable here and cal area method here. So can we create the object of interface? No, we can't create the object of interface. Whenever we have to inherit the interface methods or variable, then we can implement the interface implements using keyword implements. We can inherit that interface area using implements keyword. We can implement that interface in that class. We don't need to create object. By simply implements that interface, we can access the variables and methods in this class. Here the methods and variable is accessed, but we have to define one main method. Here I will take one more class. Here we will see class main interface, and in that class I will declare main method, that is a public static void main. This is standard structure of main method. In that main method we will take one parameter string args, that is a array. Then we have to create the object of child class, because I have implement that interface here, and we have to perform this method, call this method. That's why we have to create the object of that class, that is a circle area, and call that method cal area circle area. Then object of that circle area, suppose obj equals to new, then circle area. That is a default constructor of class. Then we have to access that method. That's why we have to by object, then dot, then method name, and in that method there is one parameter double r. That's why I have to pass the value of double, that is I suppose I pass 5.2. and now we will save that program and open command prompt and see how the execution is performed. Here we will see live the execution of that program. Before that I have to clear the screen. Now you can see better. First we have to compile that program. Java C main interface dot java. Main interface dot java. When you compile the program, your program is compiled successfully here. Then we have to run that program. That's why we use the java command, then class main method class name, that is main interface. After running the program, what is the output? The output is pi value 3.14 into double r. What is value we have passed here for double r parameter, that is 5.2. 3.14 into 5.2 into 5.2, it is the answer of your program. That is, you can see here, circle area equals to result of this area is displayed here, that is 84.9056. you can see that result, that much. You can calculate using calculator also. Here we will see 5.2 into 5.2 into 3.14 equals to 84.9056. that means the result is correct. And how in this way our program is executed successfully here. Now we will see one more concept, that is interface and class. How we can implement, how we can use the multiple inheritance using interface. How we can implement, we will see one simple program. Suppose I have take here class A and I define here the block for class A, suppose, and after that I will define one more class, that is class B, and the block for class here. And after that I will take one more I will take here interface C. Here I have take two class A, class B, and one interface and another interface, class C and class A, interface C and interface C. Interface. Here you can see I have declare class A, class B, interface C, interface D. Whenever we have to implement the multiple inheritance in Java, whenever we use multiple inheritance in C or C++, we can implement or we can extend one or more class in another class. But in Java we can't inheritance multiple in one class. We can't inherit two or more than two class. We cannot use multiple inheritance. That's why the concept is interface. Here in interface, suppose I have to inherit that class A to class B, then we can simply using keyword extends, we can inherit that class A, extend, then just I have to save that program using inter.java. Here I have extend the class A into class B using extend keyword, but we can't. Suppose I have take one more class here, that is a class, yes, here we can't inherit that like this, two classes in one class. That's why the concept is here interface. I have declared that class yes and extends yes, but we can't like this yes and a. We can't inherit that two classes in one class. That's why we use the method, we use the interface. Here I have extend the class yes. That class here I will delete this class yes. I will take for example only. Now we will see the interface. In this example I have extends that class A into class B. Can we extend that class A into interface C? Here can we implement extend that class A into class into interface? Can we like this, take like this? Can we extend that class A into interface C? We can't take like this. We can't extend or implement the class into interface, but we can implement that interface into class. Here if you take the keyword implements, PLE implements, can we take like this? We can implement class A to class to interface C. Can we take like this? This way also we can't take, but we can implement the interface into class. We take like this. We can implement the interface into class, but we cannot implement or extend a class to an interface. Here we can extend one class into another class, but we cannot take like this also. But we can't implement one class into another class. We can only extend one class into another class. We can implement one interface to another interface or not, like this. Can we take like this? Interface C implements interface that interface D? No, we can't take like this also. We can extend one interface to another interface, but we can't implement one interface to another interface. You have to remember that. Here I will show you. We can implement one interface C. We can implement interface to a class. Here class A implement C. It means C is an interface, and here I have implement that interface into a class, but we can't implement or extend that class into that interface C or D. I hope you have to understood. We cannot implement or extend a class to a interface. We cannot implement a class to another class, but we can extend a class to another class. Here class B and here I have extend the class A to class B using keyword extends. And another one point, that is we can extend one interface, that interface D I have extends in interface C, but we cannot implements the interface, one interface to another interface. We can extend interface into interface, but we cannot implement interface into interface. We can extend class into class, but we cannot implement class into class. We can implement the interface into class, but we cannot implement or extend a class into interface. I hope you have to understood that all points carefully. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel till now, subscribe to my channel and be support. Thank you for watching this video again.